And we're live. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ought to Know Better Series 2, Episode 5. My name's Luke, and I'm joined tonight by Mad Adam, Gilly, and Smarty. How are we doing, chaps?
Good evening.
I'm starving.
Are you eating your dinner, are you, before we're even...
I am. Sorry, everybody.
So basically what you've done is you've actually completely replaced Jay tonight. Not only because he was meant to be on, but you're actually sitting there eating. Are you going to get your metal straws out in a bit? Or
yeah, I was going to say.
Not have any of them. I might be able to find a pen.
Oh, God.
Now then. That's probably not my best intro, actually, to use, is it, now then? Especially with who it's associated with. Just need a cigar and that.
Could be your dad.
Yes. Yeah, so I've had to swap places this week. I know you're all probably looking forward to seeing Carl and his dulcet Irish tones hosting tonight, but unfortunately, I'm going to the Liverpool game on Sunday, so I wasn't going to be around to do the Berardi and Coke, the after the game experience, because Smarty and I are going to be sat there giving it shit to all the Scousers. So Carl very kindly deserved to swap, and then I realised, do you know what? Since we were on last week, I haven't watched any fucking football. So I was like,
yeah, the other side to that is we've upgraded from Jay, so we're balancing out.
Oh, yeah. We've balanced out in the end. Don't let anybody... Hey, there's a few people now that know Jay that might not like you saying that. But yeah, we'll crack on then. We'll start off with a bit of an international roundup. We've had a few players, obviously, out at internationals and one that didn't. But we'll start with the England game and Paddy making his full debut against Andorra at the weekend then, Adam. So I didn't see it. I was absolutely off my box in the tune. And don't remember. I didn't even know my own name at the time, so I don't remember watching any of the England game. Talk us through it. How did it get on? I've seen some conflicted arguments, but I've also seen some people saying he wasn't getting the supply. Some people saying he was shite. What happened?
Not a lot, really, mate. That's the bottom line. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything right. It was just a game that unfortunately passed him by a little bit. And I think that's more, I don't think that's necessarily Paddy's fault. I think it must be difficult for any striker to come in and play against a team like Andorra, who are going to put 9 men behind the ball, and you hope for the best. But I think that's why the midfield for England was so much better and had so much more of the ball. Bamford made some great runs. People just weren't finding him, and he just didn't have the space to run into like he would do, because I say Andorra put 9 behind the ball. So I think he had a snapshot, but he was offside. There was one which he started a couple of moves. There was a goal disallowed for Lingard, which he put him through. So it weren't a bad performance by any stretch of the imagination. But I think, as I say, you put any striker and they're playing against Andorra on the debut, you expect him to bag a few, don't you? But that's just fucking lazy people who look at teams and they don't look at the actual tactics that Andorra played. I think you could have put. I honestly think you could have played Harry Kane from the start, and I don't think Kane would have scored either, because Andorra were just compact. And credit to them for the shocking little team that don't win or score many. They were compact. They were a tidy defensive unit. And it's hard to break them down. So I don't think anybody, until they get tired, which we see against these little shitty teams like that, you don't necessarily score until the 60th, 70th, 80th minute. So I think anybody who's saying he was shit knows nothing about football. But potentially I'm biased. But I truly believe not one striker would have been able to really break them down better.
Does he get another chance? Does he get another chance then? Do you think, if you're Gareth Southgate and you've looked, not necessarily his performance, but the supply around him? I think the two arguments that I've seen, certainly on Twitter, were one side was Paddy Bamford was not good enough, to be playing at international level for England against Andorra. He had a poor game against Andorra, where you've obviously conflicted that argument, saying you play against any side that's going to have 11 men behind the ball all game, then you're going to have a difficult time anyway as a striker. Sure. The other argument is that the England players almost didn't look like they were going to, and I didn't see it, so I can't say. The England players almost looked like they didn't potentially trust him, so they weren't sort of trying to supply him as much. So, you're Gareth Southgate. Does he get another chance?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd have him in and around the squad, all the time. I think he's in a really shitty position, he's Paddy, because there are some reasonably good strikers. Let's not fuck about. Within England at the moment, Kane is obviously number one. That's a given. Calvert-Lewin, I don't necessarily like him, but he scores. Then you've got Danny Ings. He's made his choice. Until Ings gets an excruciating ligament injury, he's going to be around the squad. And then, who else is there? Watkins, perhaps. Like, he's better, as we all know, he's better than Watkins. But they're the players that do seem to get there. And I think he's just in a really unfortunate position.
Gilly, sorry, Adam, go on.
No, and I think I've seen a few people on Twitter, which is obviously, you can't take it for too serious, but there's people saying he's too similar to Kane, and I think the narrative with the media as well is saying he's a bit slow and he's a bit he's a bit similar to Kane, but he's not, and people who watch him week in week out know that. But I just think it's that typical. He plays for Leeds. He ain't good enough. He was rejected by all these clubs. And it's just a typical Patrick Bamford. He weren't good enough for the Premiership, stormed it. Why is he not good enough for England? I don't think he did out wrong, and anybody who thinks that can...
I saw a great tweet the other day saying he's now played more minutes for England than he has for Burnley.
There you go. Like 34 or 38 minutes for Burnley or something. I think Josh, I think it's Josh. If Phillips had been on the pitch, it'd have been a bit different. I absolutely agree. I think you're looking at the players that he were playing with. They're all trying, in my opinion, they're all out for themselves. They're trying to do a bit of showboating. They're trying to make themselves look good, and they're showing off. There were no service to Bamford. He were getting onto loose balls and balls over his head and this and the other, trying to latch on. Damn well, if it's Rafinha or Harrison, they're running to the byline and they're cutting back for him, or they're putting the ball through. Phillips had put a ball through to him. That's his sort of game, not trying to drag a ball out at chuffing sky and first time finish. And then when they brought Grealish on and a few other teams, a few other decent players, the whole team transformed and it looked a much better attacking presence. But you can't base that performance. I mean, fucking hell, how many people complained about Phillips when he started? Everyone had written him off, shit, he's no good, blah, 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 blah. Bamford's a quality player, and I'm sure if he gets another chance, which I'm sure he will do, hopefully he'll be able to show it as well.
And I think you're right where you said that's smart. I think when the England team made 11 changes, didn't they? It was a completely different team. So not one player on there you class as a first teamer for England, really. So they're go on.
Sorry, mate, I was just going to say, you put him in, you take Kane out and put Bamford in and put him in that sort of proper first 11, he will do miles better. But he's got fucking Jesse Lingard doing,
Did those changes coincide when we brought that extra energy on you, Grealish and everything? That coincided with Bamford going off, though, if I'm not mistaken, from what I understand. So it was almost like he was set up to fail, and Harry Kane was set up to look like the saviour by coming on and popping one in when we've got three better creative players behind him. It's difficult.
Well, I'll go one step further with that, mate. It's because after watching the game, the Southgate played Alexander-Arnold in centre mid, and then when they made the changes, I think Reece James went off and Alexander-Arnold went back to right back. So your midfield's already a little bit more balanced. Then you bring Mount on, then you bring Grealish, and then you bring Kane on against a tired Andorra team who can't be asked to run about anymore because they're all fucks, and 6 of them are on bookings. And then we get a penalty. So I think a lot of this play is at Southgate's door, and I think he gets a lot of praise for saying, he's bringing on all these players and handing out first caps and all this, but he don't manage them in any particular decent way. He does hang them out to dry a little bit. So yeah.
Even pundits weighed in at half time, didn't they? And stuff, saying their bit that he had no service and stuff. So, I mean, they're paid to talk about it, aren't they? So,
Yeah, I was just going to, before we move on to a couple of the other lads who played in internationals, well, I don't want to focus on them all, but another two that I do want to move on to, just before we do, Jamie O'Hara, the wanker's been back in the headlights again, you know, saying that he never deserved the call up and that he's holding people back. And I find that quite not just disrespectful, but almost unfair on Bamford.
That's intentional, though.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, he's fucking clueless, isn't he? He doesn't have a clue.
He's a fucking cockwomble. He's a cockwomble.
He's an absolute cockwomble, but he's not clueless at all. He's being given those words to say because they're the radio equivalent of the Sun, and that's how they get traction online. And it's just cynicism. He's not saying it because he means it. He's saying it because he's told to, because that's what gets him attention.
Yeah. So
as a fan base, we've got to stop giving him attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to move on to the Rafinha situation next, because bless him, he's been given his first call up for the Brazil national team, and for whatever reason, I'm hoping, Gilly, you can shed a little bit more light on this situation because you tend to be a little bit more clued up with sort of things that are going on elsewhere and what's actually happened. But obviously didn't go because of COVID regulations of some sort. And the Premier League blocked any players going, is that right?
So it wasn't COVID regulations that stopped it, that if a player didn't want to travel, that they didn't need to. Knowing that was probably going to result in sanctions from the Brazilian FA. So the Brazilian FA were then looking at a position where any players that had a no-show, and I've not seen any confirmation that this is the case, but any player that plays for their national side and then doesn't respond to a call-up, their national FA can then say, right, okay, well, you're not allowed to play for 5 days after our game, which usually means they're missing the next game. So that was the threat that was hanging over Rafinha, some of the Liverpool players and a few others that weren't travelling. However, there were some players that travelled. Now, they travelled to an alternate country first and therefore said they hadn't come from the UK. Now, that was technically true, but they still hadn't completed the quarantine from the UK, which is on Brazil's red list. So they hadn't finished the quarantine there. So in actual fact, and I've not had an opportunity to look for the update today, but the latest yesterday was a fear that Brazil were going to enforce a 14-day quarantine for them, and then UK legislation, because they're not exempt, would then mean them doing an extra 10 days when they get back to the UK. So in actual fact, that could be an additional 24 days before they can report into their club.
That's fucking berserk.
That's mental, isn't it? Mental.
Yeah. And what about the lads from Spurs that then have played, then gone out there and represented that? There's talk of them.
They entered the field of play. Yeah, they entered the field of play and forcibly removed them from the pitch.
So they are now, to get around this, they can fly from wherever they are, Brazil, Argentina, wherever they got fucking ousted to. They are now flying to Croatia to do, because it's apparently safe there. Don't know why. So they're going to go there and rest up for 7 days before then entering the UK. And I think it just basically means that I know certainly the two Villa players that are, is it Buendia and Martinez, they're going to miss the Chelsea game. I don't know who Tottenham have got, but they're likely to miss the next game. That was it. But they're likely to miss their next game as well. So it just goes to show it's all fucking fast, isn't it?
I mean, you're not talking about some random, people that are country hopping it. You're talking about professional footballers which are continuously tested throughout, however many tests they have to do per week, and the sanctions that they live under. They don't, mix with people or many people unless they're on holiday in Ibiza. It's just crazy. I don't understand how or why they can, impose those sort of sanctions, but we're not Brazil, so
it's South America, isn't it? They're all a bit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like Brazil, Argentina, they're going to look for any reason to stir it up, and it's always going to be like that. And I think it's just,
what was actually levelled as an accusation against them was that they'd falsified their documentation, which is why they were talking about enforcing the quarantine over in Brazil before they'd be allowed to come over here. And basically that documentation said that they'd not been in the UK. They're playing the Premier League. It's beamed around the world. They're not going to get away with that.
He's got an old man mask on. It's not me. I'm someone else. You got the wrong guy. Fucking idiots.
That's absolutely berserk. And then last but not least, the last international I just wanted to touch on before we move on to the Pulse, Marty, is obviously the new signing, Dan James, who represented Wales for I think it's consecutively for his 21st game now, and he's been praised by the Wales boss for how mature he's been. Because I think he's Dan James about 23 years old, 22, something like that. And to have 21 caps at that age, I mean, consecutively as well, he's obviously doing the right thing. Saying that, there's not many good footballers in Wales, so let's just make of that what we will. So, but yeah, I think he had.
Does that make him the new Mr. Consecutive?
Yeah, Mr. Consecutive. I think
you know what? I was just thinking of Mr. I'm going to drop something in here.
I think he had the most take-ons in a tough shitty game. I forget who they played. Most take-ons. I think it was LUFC Data or somebody along those lines put something out there that he was going to Stats as arch nemesis. They start fighting each other like Anchorman. They go
scrapping like fucking South Stand. Go on, man.
But yeah, no,
David Bedwell, 24 caps.
It was all really positive. So look, I'm really excited to get. I know we spoke quite deeply on him last week. So really excited for him to get over here. Just before we move on, does Dan James start against Liverpool then, or not? Not now. Not now. Rafinha's not gone.
No, he wouldn't do anyway. Rafinha could come back with one leg. He still wouldn't be chuffing starting. We probably won't see Dan James.
But if Rafinha had gone and had to quarantine, obviously with Elder Costa going out to Valencia, I don't think we'd have had a choice but to start him, would we? Look at Adam, he's buzzing that Costa.
I don't know.
What a day.
Yeah, but Costa's gone. But
what a day.
It would have probably fallen back on some youth because Dan James is still away with internationals. He's not even had a chance to train with team, has he? So he's not just going to fire him straight in.
No, I don't think he would either.
No chance.
Anyway,
he's only a speed merchant. He's not capable. He's just Darren Huckabee.
That was one of the poll questions, but because it didn't win the poll, Smarty, why don't you tell us what did? 1 second, though, before you do.
Twitter poll results.
What is this? I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this. This is my first main pod of the season, by the way. I'm not used to these new fan
that's why they've been
better. Is that why
numbers
have been so high?
That's it. Oh. Right. Anyway, each week we ask the listeners to choose from the main subject of the pod. So for the following this week, the Concourse digital era, is it a shambles? Which, of course, yes, it is. Where does Dan James feature versus Liverpool? Is Geldart first team bound? And lastly, is it do or die for Roberts? And by quite some margin, Geldart first 11 ready ? Is the winner. So our Geldart expert, Mr. I don't even know who wants to take this one on because I know.
I was scared you were going to say me.
I nearly did, you know. Fuck it, Luke. Do you want to take this one, mate? Because I don't really know. I know he's a good player.
Yeah, well, it's based on. I think that poll option was based on his performance for England, under 21s the other day, I believe, where he scored at 20s, and he scored a hat trick and then had one taken off him. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right,
so
anti-Leeds bastards.
Yeah. So he's obviously some player. He's some player, isn't he? You know, he's ripping it up in the Leeds 23s. He's representing his country. His mum's a massive fan, as are a lot of people who've watched our 23s over the last season or so. And it's really exciting to have potentially, arguably, the next England striker playing for our 23s. So, is he ready for first team football this season? I don't know, because I don't know how Bielsa thinks. I'd probably not, is my argument, because I think there's a real step up from playing 21s or 23s football to first team football. And we've talked about it a million times. The argument about playing against men and boys, it is a completely different ball game, isn't it? You know, however he carries himself well. Have we seen him play against adults? Against I say adults, any of you know fully mature adults, men that are going to kick him about and
well, he used to feature for Wigan, though, didn't he?
Yeah,
he played a fair bit in Championship. Yeah,
I don't think
League One, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he wasn't that. I don't think he was that prominent.
Sorry, yeah,
I think he made a fair. I mean, one of you can probably check his wiki now, but I don't think he made more than sort of 10, 15 appearances for him. But look, it's exciting to have somebody like that in the 23s. Is he ready for first team football? Well, probably
19
not.
appearances.
You look at the team we played against Burnley, Tarkowski at the back and Ben Mee. How would he have got on in that sort of game? Do you know what I mean? Paddy Bamford kept getting himself up and giving him it back as good as he got. A young Geldart would either potentially, and this is arguable, but would either have lost his rag and got sent off because of his well, I don't know what his aggression's like, but you look at sort of players like Alan Smith who were brought in really young, and I think he would either got really wound up and sent off, or he would have had an absolute nightmare because they probably haven't had that physicality of playing against two big horrible fucking centre backs, and that's just my take on it. Now I know we're all probably got a different one. Has anybody else got anything that they'd like to add to that?
He's either going to be an Alan Smith or a Dominic Polian. He's either going to be class when he comes against his debut, or he's going to be bombs.
I got which of them's class?
Huh? Ooh, controversial.
Ooh.
Which of them's class? You could have gone Michael Bridges, you could have gone Viduka, you could have gone with all sorts of strikers there, and you chose a scumbag and a shit one.
Right, but my point is,
just
Smith,
be careful who we're offending. We like guests on this show, Gilly.
Well, they can come on and tell me what an arsehole I am for having got our players.
Alan Smith can fuck off anyway.
I get that. My point was, it's the aggression. That's what I was getting at. We knew Smith was just full on aggression. So, but I don't know. I think as a young player coming through, I'd rather see him come on and bag 2 on his debut, Alan Smith, or just come on like Dom Polian and not really do much. That's
I agree. I agree. I mean, it's a shame we don't have reserves anymore, is it? I mean, this under 23s fucking league, it's a lot of fucking bollocks.
We cover this every month, don't we?
I know, but I'm just saying, what is the fucking point of having a chuffing youth or an academy? What is the fucking point? Just to build them up to sell them on? Are they just
yes,
little fucking bits that? Well, it is, yeah, but if he's good enough, put him in the fucking team. Let him feature against the lesser clubs like Burnley and fucking Norwich or whatever. Give him a fucking chance. Give him 20 minutes. Let's test his mettle. Let's see what he's got.
I'll tell you why it's not happening.
So he might as well not.
I'll tell you why it's not happening.
Because
we've got Rodrigo that's not getting minutes up front that he wants to play, but won't play in front of Bamford. So unless anything happens to Bamford, Rodrigo doesn't play up front. So against Crewe, we saw Rodrigo up front. We saw him do poorly in front of goal. There were a couple of times he should have scored. But is that because he's not getting minutes up front? So he's not. We're not going to see Joffrey because what Bielsa appears to be trying to do is give Rodrigo minutes while keeping Bamford as his number 9. So we're not going to see Joffrey because he's behind. He's behind 2 of them. And
do you get excited about under 23 signings now? Oh, he's got massive potential, this lad. He's going to be a fucking great... Well, what's the point in getting excited about a kid that might be good for someone else who will sell him to? Or, if we decide to, at some point, let him play for another club.
Disagree. I do get excited by players like him and Greenwood and
I used to do. I get excited. I don't anymore, because I know we won't see him for years.
Yeah,
and it won't even. The thing is, it won't even send him out on fucking loan because he likes to keep his players close to his chest and obviously to learn from the coaching staff and his methods and all that sort of stuff. Well, what the fucking hell's the point? What is the point?
Why have we sent players like Hosanna and everyone? Because he doesn't.
Now we are.
That's shit.
They're not
going to make it. They're never going to make it. Players that have gone out of luck.
Winging dad life. Look at Gotts, Hosanna, McCalmont. We've got Rid. They were hyped up. Yeah, look, they're probably not going to make it. They're
the lower sort of standard, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but the players that Bielsa is excited about, and and rightly so, because there's some class there. Bearing in mind, this lad who we're discussing now has just played for England under 20s and started as their striker and bagged a hat trick. But I mean, yeah, fair enough. Why can't we get excited about that?
I suppose, yeah, but look at Nketiah. He's won it. He needed like top goal scorer for England youth, and he like the record, and he couldn't even get in fucking Leeds team. So I'm not slating Gelda by the way. I think he's a great player. From bits that I've seen, and stuff. I've not really watched under 23s football. I don't really have time for it, to be honest. I do. I see it every now and again, and from what I've seen, there's a really good crop of players in there. But for me, I just think, what is the point in having a good crop of players, letting them fucking fizzle out in under 23s, and then shipping them out on loan if we're not going to have them featuring at the first 11? What is the point?
That's a good point. I
completely agree, mate. I completely agree.
So I think where we're saying, can we get excited about it? When I do is when the club that we're signing them from is desperate to keep them. So when we signed Bay, Chelsea were desperate to keep him. Really, really wanted to keep him. And that's nice. I like that because we're going and doing what other clubs are doing to us now. And you know what? We're doing it to oil clubs. Now, they don't have that throughput of developing players. Chelsea are never going to do that. They've got a long history of going out and buying the next player that they needed, and they're always going to do that. So I think from that, Chelsea youth players will look at that and think, well, there's no pathway, so I'm going to leave. Whereas Leeds, at least they're making the bench, at least they're getting in the squad, and at least it takes them into account. But what I'm keen to see is, Somerville is definitely knocking on the door. He really is. And I know we brought in James, but the fact that we brought in James and shipped out Costa means actually he's looking at Somerville as a replacement there, because I think you don't bring somebody in at that cost for somebody that Bielsa's rated for a long period without looking to play. He's not going to drop Jackie. He's not going to drop Rafinha. He must have a plan of how he's going to approach this, because he's going to want to play them all. So Somerville's your next backup. Otherwise, he'd have kept Costa.
Ultimately, Somerville's position within the squad hasn't changed because we've
shipped one and got one.
And Costa going out. His position hasn't changed. He's still the backup, isn't he?
He didn't feature against Crew, though, did he? He wasn't even in the team.
That's what I said on the pod after the game. It's because the first team let him down. Likes to play like dickheads.
I think you're right in what you say about this young talent wanting to come to Leeds and us being a better option, because there is that pathway, and I think that's how that's our USP and our selling point, is that they're going to be tutored under Bielsa, and there is a direct pathway that there's this player and this player in front of you. They'll go out and have meetings with these players and say, right, look, you're right, you're a winger. We've got this player that's in front of you. If those two get injured, you'll be playing for the first team. Yeah, that's the selling point, isn't it?
Yeah. Can I play devil's advocate on this, lads? Careful. Here we go. It's going to be a dangerous one. This, but when Chelsea started, 5-10 years ago, when they were nicking everybody's players, the draw to go play for Chelsea was Mourinho, manager power. People, players were being poached all left, right, and centre from Chelsea, and then they sent fucking 75 out of them on loan or whatever. What are we doing? What are we doing differently? Our draw is Bielsa, but we're no different to Chelsea at this point. We're not bringing them into the first team. We're stockpiling English players, which I think is as well has probably got something to do with the homegrown rule that is going to come in. We've got a homegrown and home train players for, I think it's 4 years before their 23rd birthday, and then they don't class as a foreign player because you've got to register a certain amount of players. This is one of my big bugbears with under 23 football, is that we're very, very, very similar to our model now, is what Chelsea were doing. And with Tom Taiwo, with Michael Woods, who they took from us, Danny Rose going to Tottenham. Obviously, he was an exception because he made a decent career out of it. But it's because he didn't go to Chelsea when he had the chance. He went to Tottenham and they played him. Whatever. But we're very much in a similar mindset of taking good youngsters, sticking him in them 23s, doing fuck all with them. I don't
think
know.
that's fair because we haven't had long enough. That Bielsa's only been here for 3 years. That's not a great argument.
I fully understand but this, unless they start playing in the next year or two, we are no different.
So I do agree with what you're saying there in terms of unless we start seeing them hit the team, but that's why I mentioned Somerville is because he's on the bench and clearly is in his thoughts for the first team. Because otherwise we'd have kept either Poveda or Costa in front of him, and we didn't. We moved them both on, and Somerville's going to be on the bench. So you're right in what you're saying. I think it's unfair to level against Leeds what Chelsea have done for such a long time. But I think at the same time we're in a position where we are seeing the youth on the bench. We are seeing them in the match day squads. It's just about once they reach a maturity level that Bielsa is wanting to see in them. Does he blood them? Does he bring them in? And if he doesn't, then what was the point? That'll be the proof that the proof of the pudding's in the eating, and that's what we need to see coming through.
And I don't think in the time Bielsa's been here, I don't think that's a strong enough argument to say that he's given him enough opportunity. Name one player that has been here for 3 years in the youth team that, do you know what I mean, that hasn't made it. Anybody that hasn't has been moved on, and we've not made money out of him like Chelsea potentially would have done. No. But anybody that Bielsa has felt that was worth signing, he probably still has to sign the majority of youth signings off, and I would argue probably all of them. I don't know how it works because it's obviously Mark Harris or Harrison or whatever his name is, Hamilton or whatever, who looks after the 23s. It's what? Sorry, Jackson.
Mark Jackson.
Jackson, sorry, yeah. He's obviously he's coaching them, but I would argue that any signings where we're spending a bit of money, £1 million or so on, that Bielsa's obviously got to have them somewhat in his plans.
I agree. I absolutely fully expect that he and Orta are fully engaged in that, and that Jackson will be a coach of those players. Bielsa's the manager of the entire club. He will be involved in every single signing, and if you don't fancy him, they won't come in.
Yeah, I agree. Right then, let's move on. We've got a nice little message from our official partners in the voice of Gilly.
News from Orta No Better.
I don't think that's the right one.
I don't think it is it?
I don't think that sounded like you.
I don't think I've got that video, Gilly, in the list. So we probably won't have a message from our official partners. But let's move on to the upcoming game at the weekend. Then we're going to move on. We're playing obviously the Scousers from the red side of Liverpool. Honestly, for me, I don't think that international break. I usually hate international breaks, but I don't think it could have come at a better time for us as a club. Playing a bit shit is probably a nice way to put it. But yeah, how do we see Sunday going, Matt? Now you've got a ticket.
Do you know what? I'm really pleased that I'm going to be there, but I'm really worried what the result's going to be. Van Dijk looks like he was never injured. I wouldn't ever wish injury on somebody, but what I'd hoped is that they saw that he wasn't the same player. They sell him and he goes somewhere else and be world class, and they don't have him anymore. Unfortunately, that's not happened. I fucking hate him. I really fucking hate him. They're not quite the scum. They're not quite the scum, but they're not fucking far off. They stole our postcode. They stole our Champions League spot. They had that fucking Kewell shit. They can fuck off. So yeah, I'll really, really enjoy it if we beat them, and I'm really worried that we won't. And do you know what? There's that shit bastard playing in fucking middle for him, stealing the fucking living.
Jordan, not Jordan.
Yeah, do you know what? I think he fucking scores against us, the twat.
He wouldn't get a few fucking pucker pies wanged at the wanker anyway. Shit bastard.
Who was?
He wouldn't if he was shit. Did you just say he wouldn't score if he was shit? Michael Ricketts scored for him.
No, that's not what I said.
No, he would Adam.
He's off at one.
I'm not his biggest fan. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think? I think probably what the most important thing is between us and Smart. Are we going to? We're obviously going to be. We seem to raise our game against teams that aren't going to, kick us about. That play a similar style of football, arguably. We seem to play a lot better against your teams like Liverpool, and play teams that want to move it about and make the ball do the work, rather than your fucking Burnleys who just want to lump it up top to Chris Wood. So, do you see us being competitive Sunday? Do you think it's going to be high scoring like the 4-3 the start of last season? How do you see it going?
Yeah, you're right. I think we need to be up and at it straight from the off, and we need to make it count. You're right. We are better against better teams. The teams that are going to stand off us and teams that are going to take it to us. Teams that obviously think that they're better than us, and that's when we do play better football. Whether the team up the game to suit the opposition, who knows? We see it time and time again. We play shit against Burnley. We'll scrape a draw against Burnley, and then week after we'll dick fucking City 2-0 with 10 men. It's one of them, innit? Who have Liverpool got missing for their match?
Nobody.
Do we know specifically? No one. Have they got a full team?
Well, I don't know about injuries, but none of them went in terms of COVID.
Yeah, depending on what happens as part of this, there's still obviously a full round of international fixtures before Sunday. But yeah, depending on what happens in them, I think as far as I'm aware, they've had a pretty strong team out all season.
So I don't think Liverpool have sent anyone, but what does depend on the internationals is whether the Brazil FA enforce the 5-day ruling.
Yeah,
because we could be without Rafinha, which means that Dan James might play. We don't know. But they'd be without. Alisson wouldn't be in goal, which would be pretty massive. But he's shit, isn't he? Firmino's shit. I almost think he makes them worse. So I don't know. I'd rather them be without both of them than be with both of them, because I think Alisson's a big deal for him.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
there's also Fabinho, isn't there?
Yeah, he is class.
But did he go? I don't think he were called up. Sure. Is it? I'm not sure if he were called up.
Right.
Might be something related to age or whatever. I'm not sure if he were called up.
For me, I think them coming to us as well is quite big. Them coming to a full Elland Road, which will be absolutely bouncing. It'll be absolutely bouncing. And, putting their myth of a fucking atmosphere to absolute, ruins. That first 3 minutes, they get a bit of an atmosphere. Our atmosphere will be full on. It'll be loud and it'll be absolutely mental. And I hope to God that plays in our favour as well. We need to really be the 12th man. 13th man behind the ref.
You can tell he's
you're expecting the ref to be on our side, are you? He's not. He's from Batley.
I run out of fingers. But yeah, no. I think we could. I think we should take it to them. I'd like to keep it nice and tight. And I think sorry, no pun intended there. No, we do need to take it to them, and I think we'll give them a good game. It's not going to be a scum.
Has anyone ever told you look a little bit like Fabinho? If you not Fabinho, Firmino, if you bought him from Wish.
Me?
I think it's just the hair. Yeah.
He ain't got hair, has he?
Firmino.
He's got hair like you.
Firmino has. Yeah.
Firmino.
Oh, sorry.
Firmino.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure you said Fabinho then.
I did at first, but I corrected it.
Right. He said Fabinho. I'm like, he's got no hair, has he?
Anyway, Adam, how do you see it going?
I agree with both you boys. I think fans are going to play a massive part. I think we can't fucking make any stupid mistakes in the first 10, 15 minutes, and we need to get everybody behind us. We need to really, really push, because I think they are a team probably on par with our speed of attack. Do you know what I mean? They can counter-attack and kill you almost within fucking 10, 15 seconds. So we've got to be really be careful with that.
You look at that game, that's first game last season when we played them, and if Salah hadn't had the fucking man, the match of the fucking, if he wasn't in every single thing he hit was turned to goal. Did he get an hat trick?
Yeah, he did,
against us.
That's because Rodrigo gave away a penalty, didn't it, the dick?
That was right, but the penalty wouldn't have probably been a penalty with the rules
not
now.
later in season.
So, yeah. So yeah, I think it's one of them. I think like you said, Adam, we've got to turn up. We can't start the game after 10, 15 minutes. You've got to be at it from the off. I'm just looking forward to.
So I've got a question.
Go on.
I've got a question. So I've just checked. Fabinho is in the running, so he did get a call up and didn't respond to that call up. So the question is, Liverpool without Becker, Fabinho, and Firmino, and Leeds without Rafinha, or they get all three and we have Rafinha. Where do we go? Which would you prefer?
Because I'm going to the game, I'd rather see them all on the pitch.
Ooh, selfish.
Well, not only that, but
selfish offside over here. Fucking hell.
Not only that,
right,
not only that, Spy. I think it's because I think they've got.
They also wouldn't have that, mate. Side before self.
You look, they've got decent backup in those positions. When you look, arguably, we've got either Somerville or Dan James, who hasn't even ever probably trained with Leeds yet, to come in his place. I think Rafinha means a lot more to us than those three probably mean to them.
I agree. That's why I asked the question. I agree.
You're probably right.
Although they lost. His name escapes me. The central midfielder that went to PSG on a free.
Wijnaldum.
Gini. Gini were a big player for him, and without Gini and without Fabinho, all they've got is a thief of a player that's stealing a living. So that that would be a big deal for us.
Harvey Elliott's been playing in there for him, hasn't he? This season? He looks fucking tasty. He looks good.
He's kind of been playing in a 10 role, though, haven't he? So they still won't have a midfield.
I watched him against Chelsea, and he's got a complete free reign in that team, which. All if we actually talk about football in general rather than just slagging off players here, I'm going to go on this and say Klopp is doing something with a young player there and just giving him the fucking confidence and the free reign. And he's looked good. He's looked really, really fucking good.
Pockets full of Werther's originals.
I don't know what it is, but
where the packet is sleep, TT smile.
Shit on my knee.
He's looked class, and I think we'll probably see Calvin deployed to keep an eye on him. I really do, because he's really looked.
On Elliott?
Yeah, I really do, because I think he's going to be their danger man. I really, really fucking do. It worries me.
It pisses me how much they big him up as well, though. It's like, fuck off.
But they didn't sign anybody this transfer window.
Why don't you fucking ask him on a date then, Adam? Fucking hell.
What are you saying? Get him up on Bumble.
Some people who listen to the podcast actually want to know about football and rather just talk about fucking David Hockaday. Sorry.
Well, I only got a response from Luke on it, really. So, Smarty, Adam, us with Rafinha and then with their three are potentially a better option because they'd have no midfield.
Well, until
Alisson is a quality keeper.
Yeah, he is. No, he's one of the best, isn't he, in the world. But until I listen to Selfish Luke, I have to agree with him. Yeah, I think he means more to us than those three mean to them. So, yeah, you're right. And I would like to see them all. I'd like to see all their fucking tears when we dick them 3-1.
Even at full strength.
And there's my fucking prediction and all. Fucking mark that down.
I tell you what, there'll be tears when Adam's hanging out at back of fucking Harvey Elliott.
Will you sign my shirt, Harvey, please?
I think Adam might be Little Spoon.
Fucking hell.
Where you want bench?
That's what Mad Adam's Little Spoon to know.
Fucking Adam Porsche.
I tell you, Adam looks more like who's the old Welsh centre back.
I look like John Hartson.
John Charles?
No,
See the full head. You wanker. You fucking asshole.
What?
Nothing.
I love you fuckers.
Right, we better move on. I think we've obviously talked enough about that. Let's move on to that lovely part of the week that we all enjoy talking about, and it is
the hot topic.
Before we do that, actually, we could have a word from our partner.
Well, let's do that then.
Just got one.
Or to know better, excited to announce a new partnership. 3 Retro is the retro football shop. Retro was born from the love of the game, from historical nights on the cold terrace, and from the love of vintage shirts of a bygone era. Find the referral link and discount code in our social media accounts and in the comments and descriptions of How to Know Better.
It usually goes away on its own. There you go.
It hadn't finished, that's why.
Yeah, I haven't finished.
I do not. It stopped here.
Must be my
We're a real professional outfit here this week, aren't we? Fuck it. Bring back Carl and Jay.
Oh, aye.
So now we'll move on to the most important topic of the week.
The hot topic.
Obviously,
I'm never going to get bored of that.
this is the part of the podcast where we essentially basically decide whether we want to ruin the club or move forward and basically flip a coin on whether we'd like to the Hawk to come back and take us to the pinnacle of football, or we'd like to be managed by the manager of the opposition team who we happen to be playing the following weekend or the next game. Happens to be Jurgen Klopp this week, so I'm going to start with you, Adam, and tell me your reason for picking Klopp.
I'm not even partaking in this anymore. I'm
Don't be a miserable bastard. What's fucking wrong with you? You're part of the fucking team. Just fucking give us your fucking bullshit. Talk about a fucking pepper grinder. You're as bad as fucking Cal with I'm not fucking giving you a prediction. Because we all
No, he's going wrong.
I once bet on Leeds in 1921.
Luke's right. I can tell you, Adam is definitely picking Klopp. He's going wrong way.
100%, right? You are going wrong way. No, that's on here. No, I would pick Klopp because I think of things in a logical manner. And
James Collins.
Why are you laughing, dickhead?
A logical manner.
Don't show anybody any text. I said you that. But no, from a football perspective, Jurgen Klopp, as he's playing the youngsters. He's playing my little friend Harvey, and he brings on. He's a good manager. So this is going on in the season again, isn't it? Fuck's sake.
Oh wow, logic.
Hey,
just run us by your Adama views again.
James Collins. In fact, our friend, the West Ham fan Harry, will be a massive James Collins fan. Yeah, Harry the Hammer. We'll have to get that out to him because I think they used to have a really nice nickname for James Collins. Can't remember what it was, but it was about I can't remember, the ginger fucking Pele or something. I don't know. No, you can't say that. It's not nice.
It's no worse than what you just said.
Hey, I get told off if I say the cunt word. There we go. See, smart.
47 minutes. 47 minutes.
They don't even notice when I say it, though. That's why.
Smarty.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm just
Smarty, help topic. Who are you going for?
Well,
don't let me down, Smart.
I'm never ever not going to pick the Hawk ever, because he's the best fucking thing that's ever happened to Leeds United, and he's still the only manager that's ever come in and told anyone, the press and everyone else, that he will be taking us to the Champions League.
It's true.
And yes,
let's be honest, it also was down to him.
Well, it is obviously. It all started from him with his little pepper and salt pots and his little fucking, this and knives and forks and all that sort of shit. What a fucking guy. So yeah, I'm not going to go on because I normally go on about his 10-metre sweeping badge. Fucking
sweeping badge. I didn't know. Is that like a Cub Scout badge?
Give me a reach around badge. Yeah, sweeping badge and his cycling proficiency, but no, fuck that fucking German shit bag. Fuck it. Sweeping badge.
Right then, Gilly.
So we look at last season and we look at Liverpool's visit to Leeds. And we look at Klopp being such a massive, massive prick, whining and whinging about earn it on the pitch. And how dare Leeds make a stand against the same thing that Liverpool ended up dropping out of, purely on the principle that he was self-serving. He wouldn't say anything against the people that were trying to ravage our game and tear it to pieces and take away from it the competition element that actually makes our game what our game is. He can fuck off. I will never choose Klopp. I don't give a shit how good a coach he is. It's the fucking spineless bastard, and he can get fucked.
Do you not do a bit of self-service, like?
Wow.
I will add to that. Yeah, I know. I think you're right. I just hate his teeth. I hate his fucking teeth.
Teeth are awful.
And his little fucking eyes.
That's why he likes Harry Wilson. Look at his teeth. They've got same dentist.
Didn't you sell it?
Bullshit. And when you can hear him mouthing "wow," you can literally hear him mouthing fucking "wow." Fucking fuck off, wanker. Buy a new word, you twat. Anyway.
So
I've gone the Hawk, by the way, just in case nobody picked up on that.
yeah,
Jurgen Hock.
So one of them was born in County Durham, and the other one was born somewhere in Germany. Now, this is
geography lesson as well as a football podcast.
This has got nothing to do with the reason that I'm picking the person. I'm just trying to make a point that County Durham is a shithole. And Germany is also a shithole. So
Yeah, it is.
So based on that, actually, do you know what? I was going to go Klopp until Gilly started with all that spiel, and I totally forgot. I overlooked it. So I'm actually abstaining from the vote this week because I can't stand either of them. And
yeah, that's all right. That means the Hawk wins.
That means the Hawk takes it this week. No,
look you, Adam, in your face, bitch.
Fuck off, Adam.
But did you know the Hawker Day? Did you know the Hawker Day when he was 17 playing for Blackpool?
Really?
There's your little Hawker fact.
And he's still not accepted my request on LinkedIn, so fuck the Hawk. Until he accepts it, I don't want to be his friend.
He's too busy working as the head of male football at South Gloucestershire and Stroud College. That's why.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a
Bringing
Hawker Day
through the next generation of footballers.
That's right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All the famous ones come from South Gloucestershire and Stroud College, don't they?
They do. That's true. That's it.
Providing the youth with glorious education.
That could be a thing for our listeners. If they can find one professional footballer who's come from so was it South Gloucestershire and Stroud College, we'll
let us know. Write in and let us know.
Yeah, right to us at PO Box. We don't know what we're doing.
Right then, moving on to Gilly's part of the show.
Auto know better predictions.
It's his face when he pushes buttons. He goes like that.
You want me?
No, Luke. Every time.
Auto know better predictions.
He really means it when he pushes it.
Fucking willing for it to fucking go.
Okay,
Go on then, Gilly.
So, I've already got Smarties, I think, because I think I heard Smarty that you were going 3-1 lead. Are you sticking with that?
Fucking right. Bin dippers. Fuck them.
You're going to be winding some up with that. I'm going to write mine down before I come to Luke. I tend to always go the same way anyway. But Adam, in the meantime, away you go.
No, because I've been all logical again. Do you know what? I'm going to go fuck it. I'm going to go Leeds are going to win 2-0, just to go against any logic, just to prove I'm not mad.
No, you are mad. You're definitely still mad.
Yeah, you've still got Mad Adam ought to know underneath your little.
The bio even says, "I'm Mad Adam."
Hello, I'm Mad.
Hello, my name's Mad Adam.
Or just Adam to anybody else who's not on this podcast. What a dicks.
So, Luke, I am ready to paste in what I've already said, but you tell me what you've said.
2-2.
Oh no, we've gone different. I've gone 2-1 Leeds.
Be fucking safe at 2-2. He's trying to win it this year, isn't he?
See, what he's done there is he's employed what I did last season. You know, I said I was worried about this, but I could never back against Leeds. He's done what I was doing last season. And he said that he would never do anything other than go for a Leeds win.
No, I never said that. I said I'd never back against Leeds.
Yeah, he did. Never back against
You did say that. You did say that. I thought you said both.
You check back through the predictions last year, and there'll be a couple of times I've picked draws. I think you'll find.
Fair enough.
I've decided I'm never going to back against Leeds. I'm not doing it this year.
All right, Jay.
Because I'm just a fucking melt. And I don't want to ruffle anyone's feathers, Luke.
Um,
Can't fucking back against Leeds. What are you fucking doing? Call yourself a fucking Jesus Christ! I can't
call
speak.
yourself a fan. Call yourself a fan.
Call yourself a Leeds fan.
So then, why don't we just add, before we clear off and do whatever else, a couple of little bits to have a bit of chat about. A few of you went to the boxing at the weekend. There was quite a good weekend, I think, held by all. Adam, you were there. How was it? Warrington.
It was shit, mate. Whole thing was shit. From start to finish, undercard weren't particularly great. You couldn't get served, but they shut the bar at 9:30 after queuing for 50 minutes. The fight was over. 9:30, the shot, hour before Josh Warrington's ring walk. It was just full, and it was just full of dickheads. Unfortunately, there was a few. I saw a load of scraps going on in the concourse because people couldn't get beers. It was just piss poor from Headingley Stadium. And then the Warrington fight his ring walk was longer than the actual fight. It was just fucking shocking. It really was. And it was a shame because it were,
It looks like he's having a stroke.
It was
shit. But
and that is a shame because when the arena, when I've seen Josh fight at the arena, it's been a really, really good occasion. The beers are no problem at all to get. I've seen small elements of trouble, but not big fights breaking out. So at the arena, it's been a good experience.
I didn't see any. Not that I ever looked for it, but there were no security within Headingley at all when you got in there. Really, it was just
running around throwing midget gems at people like
I was
just fucking chilling people left, right, and centre, mate. But try to get to the front of fucking queue. I wanted to be. But no, it was really poor, and it was a real eye opener as to how far. I know we one of our poll things was about the concourse at Ellen Road being wank at the moment, but I'll tell you what, at least you got a pint at half time against Crewe. There was no chance to Headingley. It was the worst managed event I've ever been to in my life. It was shocking. There you go. But on a positive, we got to meet the Skylights boys, who were fucking cracking lads. Had a couple of beers with them before we went in, and so swings and roundabouts, isn't it? But yeah, it was a shame for Josh.
Yeah, the result was a massive shame, wasn't it? Just a shame because I think Warrington was looking quite good, to be fair, for the first 2 rounds. I think it went, and then stopped in the third one. I was absolutely fucked when I was watching it. So
yeah. And did you boys see Luke Ayling's response?
Yes.
So
no.
Luke, he basically just told Lara, "Fuck off." He's going mad at ringside.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
But I think that's how pretty much 20,000 people felt. It was just really, really anticlimactic, and I really do feel for Josh on that because I don't think we'll see him. Honestly, unless they go Lara Warrington 3, there's no way it can be held at Headingley again. It really can't do anything like that. It was so poor. So it'd have to be Ellen Road.
Arena.
But
it depends on the number of tickets that they think they're going to be able to sell, don't they? If they're going to be able to sell Ellen Road, then they'll do it there.
Yeah, and I think that has really, really fucking set him back probably another year. Like it's really, I think it's done more damage to his career because no, I like my boxing, and I just don't think he's done himself any favours. I don't think Matchroom did him any favours, and I just don't think there's going to be, other than people in Leeds, nobody wants to see the third fight. Nobody. Because Josh got chinned in first one. We all know that. And in second one, Lara, excellent lad. But I think, it was a bad cut. But it's a big event. Like, you fight on.
He didn't want to know Lara, did he? He wanted it finished.
He didn't. After first round, you could just sell.
You can't fight on with that. There's no way you can fight on with that.
No.
Nah.
Anyway, what we got coming up in terms of the pod then, lads? We've obviously, pretty sure that we've got our first in off the VAR after the Liverpool game at some point this season.
Super.
We've also got I'm a Statman coming up Saturday morning. That's going to be reviewing all the stats prior to Liverpool, but also I think we're going to have a bit of a chat about upcoming games as well, the weekend's Premier League action. Anything else? We've got Brady and Coke on Sunday evening with, is it going to be Jay and Carl?
No,
or is it you still, Matt?
It's you,
Matt,
isn't it?
Me and Carl. Jay's doing my spot on main pod, and I'm doing his this week.
Got ya. So Matt and Carl on Sunday evening. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Have we got any other business before we close off?
Just look out for the new competition. There's a signed book. It's Phil A's new book. It was beautiful to win. So we'll be revealing the competition winner at the end of the month. Can
you just try and sound a little bit happier about it?
It's done as a massive one here, you know.
He has. To be fair.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Phil.
Stats.
Thanks, Phil. I'm going to personally thank him, but I actually get back yet. Thank you very much, Phil. That's still up for grabs. So check out our Twitter little tweets here, there, and there's an instruction what to do to win the book.
Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Do follow us all if you like us. If you don't, please do block me. And have a great week, and we'll see you after the Liverpool game.
Yeah. See you.